All right, we will call to order the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting at this time. First order of business will be to seat an alternative. You want to stand up and sit back down, or are you okay? All right, we have seated an alternative. Did we have anybody signed up that wanted to speak about anything other than what we got on our agenda? Anybody check that one? Okay. Then we'll move to the consent agenda. Item number 4. It is the minutes of the October 23rd, 2019 regular meeting. Commissioners? Questions, comments, concerns? None. Okay, Chair will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented on the agenda.
Second.
All right, I think I got this right. Mr. Broad said he moved that we approve, and Mr. Outlaw seconded. So we will, unless there is discussion, we will call for a vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Batting 100. Item number 5. Items for individual consideration. PC 2019-035. Consider and act upon a request for approval of a preliminary plat of the RIP subdivision, an approximately 148-acre tract of land located at the southeast corner of FM 3009 and the RIP Chrysler Street, I'm going to say, City of Schertz, Guadalupe County, Texas. Yes, there's a street called RIP
Chrysler. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, good evening. This is the map of the subject property, as you can see outlined in green here. Just for some reference roads, this is I-35, this is FM 309, RIP's Chrysler right here, Crest Oak. The applicant's proposing to preliminary plat, like you said, approximately 148 acres of land into 5 different lots in order to primarily develop a convenience store with gas pumps here on Lot 1, Block 1, which is this one, on the corner of 3009 and Rips Chrysler. The specific use permit and the associated site plan for that convenience store with gas pumps was approved by Planning and Zoning Commission and by City Council finally on April 23rd, 2019. The proposed subdivision has access to several public streets, namely 3009 here, the existing Rip Chrysler Road here, Crest Oak Drive, and the extensions of Baptist Health Drive, and then Wiederstein Road as well. Like I said, they're proposing to plat the property into 5 different lots. Lot 1, Block 1, the site for the convenience store with gas pumps up here is a 1.86 acre tract. Lot 2, Block 1, just below it here along 3009, is a 6.38 acre tract. Lot 3, Block 1 is an 80 acre tract to the east of Baptist Health and north of Wiederstein. And then Lot 1, Block 2, so the Block 2 is below Wiederstein Road, is a 3 acre lot that is going to be a drainage easement entirely. And then Lot 2, Block 2 on the other side of Baptist Health, south of Wiederstein, is a 46 acre lot. The applicant has submitted tree preservation mitigation affidavit indicating that they will be removing protected and heritage class trees, and those mitigation fees will be due prior to the issuance of any clearing and grading permits in the future. Besides that, the proposed preliminary plat meets all of the other regulations defined in the UDC, and therefore staff is recommending approval as submitted. The applicant is here as well as the project engineer to answer any of your questions. And there's zoomed in views of each of these. It's just harder to see for each of the lots, so I figured I'd keep it on the index sheet. But if you want a closer look, we can zoom in on any of the lots.
All right. Does the applicant wish to say anything at this time? All right. Commissioners? Questions, comments, concerns? After getting a look at this thing?
Yes, I got a few. The street alignment that we have on here, this was designed by or suggested by the city? did we suggest the street alignment on this?
I'm Aaron Prinsky with Horn, the civil engineer on the project. The street alignment is related to the street alignment is related to the major thoroughfare plan. So you're tied to the connection point of Wiederstein coming into 3009, trying to line up with the street on the other side. What happens in between is flexible. So we did move that through the plan review process when we were coordinating with CPS. There's the big power electric lines that run through there. There's also another easement that took some time to find the old record document of where that was. So there was some adjustments made between the two connection points. So yes, there is some flexibility there, but that's generally how the street alignment was.
So as a matter of planning and with our thoroughfare plan and future development here, it's almost obvious to me that the alignment of these streets is going to have to be altered somehow. Because when you come off of Wiederstein, the present Wiederstein Road, and you look across 3009, the center line of the street has power lines in it. I don't think you're going to move those. I don't think they are movable. So from a planning standpoint, we're probably going to have to adjust the alignment of this street somehow. And then if you look at the intersection of Wiederstein and Baptist Health Drive, I don't know when this is going to be constructed, but the intersection of those two streets is smack in the middle of a major floodplain. I don't know if you can afford or want to afford to spend the money it's going to take to build a culvert system and put an intersection on top of a culvert system. I don't know if we're going to do that, or even if it's even possible or feasible. So from a city standpoint, we may want to relook at our master thoroughfare plan and see if we can maybe put these streets someplace else or do something else with them, because I can't foresee building an intersection right on top of a major floodplain. I don't know if we can do that.
No, I understand your concerns, and it's definitely something they could look at as they go through the final plat process, because
Right.
like we've talked about in the past, the thoroughfare alignments for the preliminary plat are illustrations, essentially.
Right.
And they're not set at this time. But yeah, it's definitely something, we hear your concerns, we can look at later.
Another concern I have, and of course this is from your phasing plan, I hope it doesn't take this long to phase this development, but there's some major flooding that takes place at further downstream from here. And my concern is in this entire development and the Cibolo city limits, city property north of this, whenever that gets developed, one, there's some houses south of here that have been flooded in the past, in the very recent past, and it's on in the neighborhood of Fawn and Antler Drive where they intersect 3009. I know for a fact a couple of houses on Antler have been flooded several times. Not quite sure on Fawn, but that receives runoff from HEB and points west, I think. All this other runoff from your property will come down, and the drainage systems intersect underneath 3009 and going further south. We need to really look closely at this. Our engineer, your engineers and our engineers really need to look at this to make sure that the flooding is not exacerbated down on Antler Drive and Fawn Drive, because they flood today. And this is a lot of development, a lot of clear cut, a lot of pavement, especially up in the Cibolo area. We need to make a concerted effort to plan with Cibolo to make sure that they can take care of their managing it like they're supposed to. And we can tell the people on Antler and Fawn that they're not going to have any increased flooding over what they have now. So, and the fact that they're flooding now means whatever drainage system we have is inadequate today. So somebody made a mistake in the past. We need to make sure it's not worse in the future.
So from an engineering perspective, first on our application, the only part of this that is expected that you'll see a final plat for is that corner lot.
Right.
for the P2 project.
Understand.
So the preliminary plat is it will be a master planning type document for the next 2 years, for the life of that it's valid. But to the concern of the future development of the property, I know the project to the north, they're providing detention because they're obligated to not increase flow at their property line.
Right.
So I'm just trying to give you some more information for if those concerns from those neighbors do come up. And so say at some point in the future, the development of the RIPS does fully happen, the culvert crossing at 3009 is the bottleneck. So that development, the master drainage plan for the full build out of that property when it really gets developed, it can't increase the flow at that point. So you have a bottleneck, a known control point at the bottom, at the downstream end of the project.
Right.
That's as an engineer who develops that very expensive culvert crossing right there at that Wiederstein connection, that future connection point. I mean, that's floodplain. That's major drainage that comes through there. And so whenever that is developed, every piece of that has to show that there's no increase to that culvert right there at 3009.
Okay.
So it kind of, you know, it's flooding in the current situation, but it also serves as a control point. Nobody upstream can make that worse.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm glad you acknowledge that, and we'll keep that in mind for the future. But just in case you're driving down the street again, just take a look at the house that's on Antler in 3009, and that house has received water several times. So, thank you.
Anybody else? All right. If there are no more questions of these folks, no more comments, then Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, make a motion, we approve the PC 2019-035, 148-acre tract of land located southeast corner of FM 3009 and Rips Rustler, City of Schertz.
Second.
All right. I have a motion by Ken Greenwald and a second by Richard Broad to approve PC 2019-035. It's the preliminary plat of the Rips Crucial subdivision, approximately 148 acres at FM 3009 and Rips Crucial Street, City of Schertz, Guadalupe County. No questions? Then we'll call the vote.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. You got it. Just remember the floodplain, guys. Sheet flow. We'll be watching it. All right, item number 6, requests and announcements. Request by commissioners to place items on a future planning and zoning agenda. Anybody got anything?
Question, who approved the curb cut on Church Parkway at the school parking lot?
What's the issue?
Only about 20 feet from the from the corner.
Yes, sir. So right in, right out. So when we provided you guys the copy of the site plan, that was shown on there, I believe.
Was?
Yeah. So again, you know, and again, I think where the question is going, you know, we can go with curb cuts, drive approaches two ways. One is we can have a black and white standard that's either allowed or not allowed in every circumstance, and we live with the results. Or we have a standard and we say there's also judgment that would weigh in on that for various factors. And so again, one of the challenges we currently have is we have a problem with access and circulation coming out of Clemens High School. It's not a good situation today because of the disconnected nature of some of the parking lots and drives and the limited number of access points that we presently have, the one on Schertz Parkway. And so as part of trying to correct that and deal with the situations and the reality of the site, that we have a high school, which is $100-and-something million facility to scrape and rebuild, to help mitigate that, the feeling is that additional drive for right in and right out would help with that on a lot that is intended at this point to be used by faculty. And the other is, but certainly if the commission has concerns, we can discuss that and talk about it in terms of, so staff understands going forward what the concerns are and what you like and don't like about it.
Okay.
But
All right, anybody else on A?
Well, real quick, I'd love to talk about that, Brian. It's not on the agenda tonight. So I guess the answer is I'd like to see that. Again, my problem comes back with consistency. We deny one and we approve it.
sure.
And so,
So we can add that. We can add it for discussion, and maybe what we can do is propose two options: a black and white standard that eliminates discretion, and then one that has judgment, but that I think inherently is going to mean others will look at it and say, why did you allow this here and not allow that there?
well, again, yeah.
Because I think a high school site's
I don't wanna
pretty
get us
different than an
legal
acre and a
problem.
half commercial
But
site.
that's exactly what happened up the road. It was black and white. Here's what the UDC says, no, you can't have one. And so there was an appeal made and it came to us.
That's correct.
So why didn't this one down here? Anyway, that's what I'd like.
Yeah, we can certainly add it to
what I'd
the
like to
agenda.
hear about.
All right, then we'll move to item B, 6B, announcements by commissioners. I don't know if anybody else got an announcement, but I'll say that I enjoyed the conference this past week. It was enjoyable. A couple of very good classes. And, oh, nobody's here from the Transportation Committee. Yeah, they are. Thank you.
I'll add to that. I appreciate city staff setting that up and making it available to us. It was a great opportunity for professional development, learning, like you said, going to different sessions, and networking and making connections with other cities that Texas has a lot of cities that I don't really know about, a lot of small towns, more than just the Austin, Texas, Dallas. So it's good to hear about other areas that are similar to this size.
All right. Item C, 6C. Staff, you're shaking your head. If you're going to shake your head that hard, then I'm going to call for number 7. Anybody got objections to adjournment at 6:37? We're adjourned.